There comes a time in everyone's life when holding on becomes heavier than the pain of letting go. We try to control, to fix, to understand, yet somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice whispers it's time. Letting go is not about weakness. It's not about giving up. It's about creating space for healing, for peace, and for life to flow again. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but grows in size." And so when we hold on too tightly to people, memories, emotions, or pain, we unknowingly feed the very thing that keeps us trapped. Letting go is not a single act. It's a process of remembering who you are beneath all the noise. It's an unlearning, a soft surrender, a return to yourself. The weight of holding on, we all carry things we no longer need. Some of it we know, old heartbreaks, disappointments, the mistakes that echo late at night. But much of it lives quietly within us, patterns, fears, and beliefs that shape how we see the world. We hold on because it feels safe, because the mind believes that if it can control what hurts, it can stop the pain. But control is an illusion. Alan Watts wrote, "The more we try to control the world, the less control we have." Letting go, then, begins when we see that our tight grip is what causes the suffering. Ask yourself, what are you still holding on to? A person who left? A version of yourself you thought you had to be? A moment that didn't go the way you planned? When we can't release the past, we keep replaying it, not just in memory but in energy. We relive the same emotions, attract the same lessons, repeat the same patterns until we finally choose to let go. It's not easy. It takes courage to accept that closure doesn't always come with answers. It comes when we stop demanding the world to make sense and start allowing ourselves to move forward anyway. The psychology of surrender in Jungian psychology. Letting go is closely tied to individuation, the process of becoming your true self. Jung believed that every person carries both light and shadow, and the more we reject or cling to certain parts of ourselves, the more we stay fragmented. To let go is to integrate, to say, this too is a part of me, and I accept it. We often hold on to pain because it gives us identity. It becomes part of our story. We say, I am the one who was betrayed, or I am the one who failed. But these stories are only fragments. They are chapters, not definitions. Eckhart Tolle said, sometimes letting things go is an act of far greater power than defending or hanging on. Power doesn't come from control. It comes from the trust that life unfolds even when you can't see the full picture. Surrender is not passive. It's a conscious choice to stop resisting what is, to stop fighting with reality, to stop replaying every what if. Because the truth is what happened, and no amount of analysis will rewrite it. But what can change is your relationship to it. The moment you choose acceptance, you stop being the victim of your story and become its observer. That shift from attachment to awareness is the birth of freedom. Emotional release doesn't come through force. It happens when the body finally feels safe enough to exhale. Sometimes it's a deep sigh. Sometimes it's tears you didn't know you were holding. Sometimes it's silence, the kind that comes after years of noise. Letting go often starts as grief. Grieving the person you were, the plans you had, or the love you thought would last forever. But grief is not an enemy. It's the body's way of clearing space for new beginnings. The energy of release feels like a storm at first, heavy, uncertain, chaotic. But when it passes, clarity comes. The mind quiets, the heart softens, and life begins to flow again. Think of it like a river. When you hold on to a branch out of fear, you stop moving. You exhaust yourself against the current, but when you finally let go, the river carries you not backward but forward, exactly where you're meant to go. Jung's concept of the shadow teaches that the parts of ourselves we reject don't disappear, they live in the unconscious, shaping our behavior and emotions. Sometimes what we need to let go of isn't outside of us but within. Old shame, guilt, self-criticism, the quiet voice that says you're not enough. To release them, we must first face them. We must look gently into the shadow and say, I see you. This isn't about self-blame, it's about compassion. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Letting go is not erasing the darkness. It's embracing it until it transforms. Every emotion you've ever felt, anger, sadness, fear, has something to teach you. They are messengers, not punishments. When you listen without judgment, they dissolve. Because the truth is, emotions only ask to be felt, not fixed, not analyzed, just felt, and once they're felt fully, they no longer control you. The present moment and the freedom of acceptance. Watts often spoke about the futility of resistance. He said to resist change, to try to cling to something, is like holding your breath, you suffocate. Letting go brings us back to the present moment, the only place where life actually happens. When you release the past and stop reaching into the future, you come home. You begin to notice small things again: the sound of rain, the warmth of sunlight, the quiet hum of existence that has always been there. The mind loves to wander, to replay, to anticipate, to control. But peace lives only in now. Every breath is an invitation to return. Inhale, I am here. Exhale, I release. Letting go doesn't mean you no longer care. It means you care enough to stop suffering. You stop feeding pain with attention and allow peace to take its place. And when you do, something incredible happens. What is truly meant for you begins to stay effortlessly. You don't chase anymore. You don't beg for alignment. You become aligned. Healing through trust. To let go is to trust the intelligence of life. It's to believe that even the painful moments have purpose, that the universe is not against you but shaping you. Trust is difficult when you've been hurt. It's difficult when you've been taught to equate control with safety. But safety doesn't come from control. It comes from faith in your ability to survive, adapt, and grow. Rumi once said, "Try not to resist life's changes, for they can open doors you never knew you wanted." Sometimes the things we lose are simply clearing the path for something truer. The relationship that ended, the opportunity that fell apart, the dream that didn't unfold, all of them redirect you to yourself. Letting go is an act of faith in that redirection. You may not see where it's leading, but you trust it's somewhere good. Because every time you've fallen, you've also risen. Every ending has carried within it the seed of a new beginning. And so you learn to breathe again, to love again, to live again. In the rebirth of the self, when you let go of what no longer serves you, something beautiful happens. You begin to remember who you are without the weight. You rediscover simplicity. You feel lighter, clearer, more present. You realize that happiness was never in control but in flow. This is the quiet joy of surrender, not needing everything to make sense, yet knowing that everything belongs. Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Letting go gives you that choice again. The choice to create, to move forward, to rebuild from authenticity instead of fear. You stop searching for closure and start creating peace. You stop waiting for permission and start living. You stop identifying with pain and start embodying freedom. In that space between what was and what will be, you find yourself. Daily practice of letting go. Letting go is not a one-time act. It's a daily practice, like brushing off the dust of yesterday's worries. Every morning you get to choose again. You get to ask, what can I release today? It might be a thought, a tension, a regret, or a fear. Each time you release, you create room for something lighter. Try this at the end of the day. Sit in silence. Close your eyes and breathe. With every exhale, imagine releasing one thing that no longer serves you. A memory, a burden, a thought. You don't have to push it away. Just let it drift like leaves carried by a gentle stream. And with each release, notice the peace that returns. The practice of letting go is a lifelong conversation with yourself, a dialogue between your soul and the moment. The power of surrender. When you surrender, you align with life itself. You stop being the storm and become the sky that holds it. You understand that you can't control the wind, but you can learn to sail with it. The power of surrender lies in stillness, in the knowing that whatever is meant for you cannot pass you by. There is a deeper intelligence within existence, call it the universe, God, consciousness, or life itself, that always seeks balance. When you let go, you allow that balance to restore itself. As Lao Tzu said, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." Surrender is not about losing. It's about gaining alignment with something far greater than the ego's plans. It's about saying, "I trust life more than I trust my fear." Peace beyond control. In the end, letting go is a return to peace. It's realizing that life was never meant to be wrestled into perfection. It was meant to be experienced fully, deeply, courageously. When you let go, you make room for miracles, for synchronicities, for peace that doesn't depend on outcomes. You begin to live with open hands instead of clenched fists. And you find that everything you were chasing was already within you. The love, the calm, the freedom. They were never lost, only covered by attachment. Closing reflection. So as you listen to these words, take a deep breath. Feel the weight of what you've been holding. And as you exhale, imagine it leaving your body, dissolving into the vastness of the present moment. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to know the ending. You just have to trust that by letting go, you are returning to yourself. Because letting go is not about losing control. It's about coming home. And home has always been within you.